So you're thinking about putting shorter cranks on your bike. Will it make any difference? I suggested in a previous video that it would. Using shorter cranks on your bike is gaining in popularity as it can make riding far more comfortable, can aid in aerodynamics, may even offer some small gains in power while maintaining efficiency while riding. In other words, shorter cranks might be a win-win. Here I'll show you with side-by-side video what effect a 15mm crank difference has on my pedal stroke and cycling biomechanics. And specifically, you'll be able to see just how much it opens up the hip angle to help reduce hip impingement. I'm 192 centimeters tall, which is 6'4" in the old language. I have two XXL road bikes, both of which previously had 175mm cranks. I've taken one of those sets off and replaced them with 160mm cranks. Why would I do that? Personally, I'm trying to manage moderate osteoarthritis in the hips, which, as you'll see in the videos, greatly impacts on the way that I ride. I have to sit very upright on my bikes, which means that I'm great to draft behind, but I've got to do a lot of work to keep up with smaller or more flexible riders who can get down lower out of the wind. After longer rides, I get pain in both my hips, and if I try and ride in the drops or get my head and shoulders down low, then that pain will come on even quicker. I've long been looking for a solution to this problem, and I've now decided to try something a little bit less conventional. So the video on the left shows me on my Trek Amonda 62cm frame, and the video on the right shows me on my specialized Tarmac 61cm frame. Previously, both bikes were set up to match position as close as possible, both with 175mm cranks and with near identical saddle position. And specifically what I mean is that the 10cm width line on the saddle is the same distance from the handlebars. The saddle on the Specialized is actually a power saddle, so it's much shorter, and the saddle on the Trek Amonda is a standard 27cm saddle, it's longer. I've tried to match the handlebar heights as best I can, although I have more flexibility with the Amonda bar and stem setup and a little bit less flexibility with the Tarmac. And so 1 week ago, my local bike shop installed 160mm cranks on the Tarmac, which is the bike on the right-hand side of the screen. Due to the crank length differential, I've raised the saddle 15mm on the Tarmac, so that the distance from the pedal to the saddle along the seat post line at the bottom of the stroke is the same. So what did I find? At the top of the pedal stroke, my foot is 30mm lower relatively on the Tarmac than it is on the Amonda. And this has given me roughly a 2-degree improvement, 2-degree opening in hip angle from the horizontal. This is actually not as much as I was expecting, but it is still an improvement nonetheless. It does help to reduce my hip compression pain. It is also interesting what's happening at the bottom of the pedal stroke. The pedal to saddle length along the seat tube line is within about 5mm between the two bikes. However, as you can see, my knee is notably more bent on the Amonda. So what does this all mean? Well, it's early days yet. I've only had the new cranks for 1 week and one outdoor ride. I was going to take the Tarmac out this morning for an early morning club ride, but one of the shifter batteries was flat. Next, I'm going to have a look at some performance metrics such as peak power production and also sustained power versus heart rate. And eventually I'll come back with some qualitative descriptions when I've had a bit more time to compare the two. I think this video may actually pose more questions than it provides answers. If there's anything that you'd like to know, pop your question into the comments and I will do my best to answer.